You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Yes, you are listening to Orange County's longest running business talk show, and I am your host, Rick Franzi. And boy, do we have a good show planned for you. Why do you ask? Because Meghann Butcher is our guest. She is the CEO and founder of RepSpark. Meghann, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Rick. Excited to be here.
And I'm excited to have you here. So let's get started with your origin story. Take us back in time, Meghann, to the motivation and inspiration for you to start your firm.
Yeah, for sure. So just to start, RepSpark is a B2B wholesale e-commerce platform. We service brands in action sports, golf, tactical, fitness, wellness, fishing spaces, mostly apparel, footwear, accessories. So the reason I say that is the inspiration started back when I was really, really little. So my father has owned multiple action sports brands with his business partner. And I just wanted to always be there when they were doing things. So I did everything from helping file papers to picking and packing in the warehouse to going to a million different trade shows. So I really grew up kind of in that apparel industry. So that kind of set the stage of me really understanding the problems that they have, but just really loving that, being around fashion and apparel and all of that. So fast forward, went to college, graduated from college, did something totally different for a while. But on the side, I was always helping with business and sales analytics. So kind of trying to figure out the trends, figuring out, looking at analytics, how inventory was being tracked and different things like that. So what happened was my dad created this software. It wasn't software at the time. It was just kind of a way for sales reps to enter orders in the field. And in this industry, a lot of the reps are multi-line reps. So they'll rep for a backpack company and a cup company and a hat company. And they just thought it made life so much easier to be able to log into, I think they were logging into like some intranet at that point or something, but log in, see inventory and place their orders. So they said, could we use this for our other brands? And that was the start of RepSpark. It was named something totally different at the time, but my dad said, you know this industry really, really well. You know what you're doing. You know the pain points here. He said, I'm not interested in anything software. I'm a manufacturer. He's a very operational guy, but not software or coding or engineering or anything like that. Do you want to run with it? And I said, sure. Why don't I run with that? And we created RepSpark. Looking back, I think I always had kind of the entrepreneurial mindset of there has to be a way to do this better. There has to be a way to do this faster. There has to be a better way to do this. So I think that all put together, we launched RepSpark and have been working on over the past 15 years.
15 years. Huh? That's congratulations on being around for 15 years.
Yeah. Seems like a long time at this point.
Yeah, well, it's impressive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about any pivots. I mean, you did know all of it well. You sort of saw it from the inside, which is great. But all too often, founders realize when they launch that there's this chance to either change the business model or chase a different model. Did you have pivots in the early days of the business?
There were pivots in the early days, but I think there's been pivots kind of throughout the past 15 years, just as the industry has changed as well. So we started as a very rep-focused tool, RepSpark. That's why we're called RepSpark. So we started as a very rep-focused tool where the sales team could log in, they can see real-time inventory for the brands, they could see product images, they could track packages and view packages and really help communicate to their retail buyers in a really intelligent manner. And then the orders came in and they were error-free and more streamlined. Next came the pivot of really being able to support B2B buyers. So then it became really kind of cutting edge at the time for buyers in retail establishment, kind of brick and mortar stores, to log in and place the orders themselves. So now they wanted to look at inventory, track their own packages, And that really changed because it really changed the whole entire concept of the tool from instead of being totally internal facing to the sales reps. Now it was a way to expand marketing and really drive a buying sequence for the retailers. So they could log on and the brand really had control of their messaging and how they kind of wanted to take different retailers down the path of buying. So that was a quick pivot. And it was something I think we're a little bit on the bleeding edge with. At first, the reps were thinking like, I don't want my buyers logging in. Like, where's my job go?
Right.
It really was to help those reps, especially for at-once orders that, it's 1 or 2 instead of 100 units coming in. Then that changed. That really drove B2B buying into marketing. So now the brands needed a way to market on the platform to the retailers who were logging in. So that gave them that opportunity. And that was a bit of a pivot in our business model and really who we were servicing. Then COVID came and that just changed things completely. I mean, instead of hey, this is a really nice thing to have, it was the reps can't go visit their buyers. We do a lot in the golf space. So the golf vertical never really closed down during COVID. And there were still people going into pro shops and purchasing products. And how was that going to happen without a platform like this? But it also really expanded the marketing piece. So being able to have a digital catalog with videos and images and swatches and virtual showrooms and virtual trade shows. So that kind of pivoted the focus of the platform, not the focus, but just kind of expanded what we were doing. And then next we had now all these buyers. I think we have over 60,000 buyers actively transacting on the platform and connecting with brands. Well, of course, the next evolution was the retailers are like, well, what other brands do you have on the platform? That would make life easy. So we built out a community. So now the brands can connect and communicate with each other, the brands and the buyers. Buyers can find new brands and request access. So, it kind of was the evolution of the industry that kind of pivoted what we were doing. And then we've always had a really big focus on training. So not just training the brands on how to be better, but training our customers on how to do their job better too. So, and that's been probably the last 2 or 3 years that we've really focused on training. And now we just kind of always are looking like, okay, what's the next way we can help? What's the next pain point that we have that we can be solving for?
So you have multiple different clients who are using your platform in different ways. Then over time, you've really evolved it. If we went back 15, 14 years ago, did you see this expansion of, was it more organic or was it?
I think I always envisioned the buyers being able to log in and use it. But where, just visually the platform has gone with the digital catalogs and line sheets and things like that, it's been a little bit more organic. And I think it's been a combo of, being really close to our customers and really understanding what they need. And then, having the big vision and how does that all dovetail together? So. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
So I imagine there's been enabling technology too that's allowed you to make this a more interactive platform with video. 14, 15 years ago, maybe it would be in a heavier lift.
Today, Absolutely. And, being able to have technology that is responsive and fast and quick and, page speed is so important and having everything scalable and secure. I mean, security is huge. Back when we started, that wasn't really a big thing. We were in individual co-locations all over the place. AWS wasn't even a thing. So it's, which sounds crazy to think about, but it's been an evolution, an exciting one.
I told you people this was going to be a great show. We're only a few minutes into it, and hopefully already you're realizing how powerful and fun this conversation can be between us. That's what I love to have technology on, because you're a technology entrepreneur, right? I mean, you're on this. The ability to offer more to your clients is somewhat dependent on what the industry around you, the innovation that's happening around you, and being able to realize kind of what are the right tools and partnerships to develop to allow your platform to scale and to become world class, like it certainly sounds it is, Meghann. You've given us a good sense for RepSpark, but I do like to make sure If there's anything else about the firm and the platform that we haven't had a chance to mention, I want to give you a chance to talk to our audience about you as the founder and CEO of RepSpark, really understanding what that offers to the marketplace.
Yeah, so we who we serve and who we're best suited for are wholesale manufacturers. Like I said, in golf specifically, we have some very specific modules for golf that allows the customization and event microsites. But golf, action sports, swimwear, really the manufacturers. And then we serve kind of three different, what we have classified as three different sections or categories. So you have your emerging brands. And this, again, is I think a little bit more COVID driven, where a lot of brands started direct to consumer, right? So like 5-7 years ago, e-commerce was becoming big. Now there are brands that started in direct to consumer e-commerce and are moving into wholesale, which is a whole switch. So, there's that subset of brands that start as direct to consumer, dipping their toe into wholesale and trying to learn how that works. And they're a whole different breed than the small to medium businesses and the large businesses. So we have a set of tools and solutions for those emerging brands, is what we call them. Then we have the growing brands. Those are the SMBs. Those are your brands that are really focused on being best in class. They're focusing on adding repeatable processes. They're focusing on growing their sales team, growing their retail footprint, potentially moving into other verticals. And then we have our scaling brands, and those are your large brands. They've been around for a long time. They possibly have, an entity that has multiple brands beneath them. And all of them have different needs and different wants and different focuses too. So you're teaching those emerging brands what wholesale is, and then the scaling brands, you're just teaching them how to continue to scale without adding additional costs.
Yeah, as you were explaining that, those first two market segments, it sounds like to me you're a more efficient marketplace rather than them trying to figure out how to offer this capability in-house. By partnering with you, you're opening them up to a large part, if not all of the market more efficiently. So that's got to be attractive for them as well.
Yeah, I would say definitely with the you nailed it, with the emerging and the those growing brands, being in that community itself, and having leads come to them and say, hey, I want to buy your product because of the digital catalog you posted, or the tile that you have in community, or a lot of times, especially in golf, it's, you're RepSpark. We already heard of you before. And we have all the retailers and pro shops asking for us to be on RepSpark. So definitely those first two categories, that's a big, big lift for them.
As we were doing a little bit of background to get ready for this interview, we came across I think a recent press release that a high percentage of buyers were finding new brands off of your platform as well in the golf space. Can you put the details around my memory?
So in the golf space particularly, and we'd love to duplicate this type of survey elsewhere, but in golf specifically, about 30% of pro shops find their new brands through RepSpark. So some of them go to a trade show, some of them don't even go to trade shows anymore. They kind of go on RepSpark and they see, what new women's brand is on there, what pickleball brand is on there at their club. But yeah, I mean, we have about 7,500 pro shops actively transacting through RepSpark with the brands. We put almost $1 billion were transacted last year through RepSpark. So, and we'll probably double that this year.
Yeah. Right here, Orange County company, growing our footprint. This is fantastic. So on this journey, I'm just curious, Meghann, have you ever had an instance or instances where you felt a little bit maybe isolated or alone with the responsibilities of building and growing your company?
Yes, I have, and I wish I hadn't. And I wish that I would have had some different advice earlier. I have. I mean, it's lonely for a long time when you're kind of making every decision. You don't really know. You don't have a ton of experience in making whatever the decision is, right? Because you have a vision and you're trying to make it come to life, come to fruition. So, you're having a hard decision, every customer call, every customer complaint, you're kind of handling on your own, balancing that with, making your vision come to fruition and also satisfying customers. So it's pretty lonely. And I wish I've joined a couple business groups just in the last couple of years. And I really wish I would have done it on year 2. I think I would have been at a much better place a lot faster. And it's great to just have some peers around you to bounce ideas off of and, commiserate with or celebrate with.
Right. Well, I think experience is the best teacher, but in business, some lessons can be learned vicariously,
Yep.
where you don't have to experience it. So that's great to hear you're in groups like that. Speaking of shared experience and knowledge, is there a piece of business advice that you've been given that you could pay it forward and share with my audience?
Yes, this gets asked a lot. And I think the best piece of advice that I would give is when answering, there's not just, when you get a question or there's something that you really, really want or something you really want to achieve, often you think the answer is like yes or no, but a lot of times it's just not yet. Like there's a yes or no, but sometimes there's just not yet. And you have to be okay with the answer being it's just not right now. And this is kind of a life lesson. I listened to a daily devotional, and I listened to it years ago, and I was like, oh, that's like a really good thing to think. And it's kind of a life lesson that I've really taken into business and how we operate. It's important to be patient, to be disciplined, to have a plan, to act on the plan, to be really, really persistent. But sometimes you're not going to get things as fast as you want them or in the way that you want them. And you kind of have to be okay with that. Our sales team has a group of prospects, and they call them customers who don't know their customers yet. And, I think it came from that. It's like, okay, just not yet. They don't know yet, but they're going to be customers. So, that I feel like I try to tell my kids that too. Just, it's not yes or no. It's just not right now. So that's kind of the biggest piece of advice.
That's excellent. And sometimes that's hard for entrepreneurs to accept too, because
you want it right now.
Right.
You want it right now. You see the vision, you see the path,
Right.
You want to grow, you want to go fast, and it just might not be the right time. So
yeah. That's great. I love asking that question because I love hearing the answers, and thank you for yours. I appreciate it. So you're a technology entrepreneur. I have to ask you, what's your view on artificial intelligence, and how do you see it disrupting or aiding in your industry? And what is your plan, current and future, for AI in your company?
Well, artificial intelligence is super exciting to me and our company. I geek out on all the cool things that I think we'll be able to do with AI. We already use it internally in our company. We have fed bots to help with customer support and customer service, help desk articles, knowledge-based articles, just being able to really service our brands and our customers better by having, years and years of knowledge at our fingertips. So just internally, we've had a ton of fun with it, but I think it's really going to change where we can go with this platform. I mean, I imagine, I talked about a digital catalog earlier, but I see, a brand being able to build a single digital catalog. Let's say it's a multi-vertical brand where they service golf, but they go into fitness and wellness, and they're also in fishing or action sports. So they kind of service them all, being able to put together a sample catalog and say, great, now spin up this catalog with these types of products for this type of vertical with these types of models. Imagine being able to spin up a catalog down to the specific retailer that you're trying to sell for based on current trends, what they purchased before, how many times they purchased before. It's really, really cool where I see AI helping with assisted shopping, recommendations, catalog building. It's going to be really cool.
A consistent theme that I've heard when I ask this question across the show is this idea of it's enabling innovation at a higher speed and faster iterations too. So that's clearly sort of what I'm hearing you say as well. And that is super exciting to have a technology that you can talk to that can do that for you.
Yeah. It would be great. Imagine, a golf pro on a golf course, and he's teaching, a lesson, and the person taking the lesson is like, I love your shirt. And that person can just be like, hey, can you order Mr. So-and-so the red Peter Millar shirt? It's cool. It's going to be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's already accelerating industry, which the tech industry just keeps with every innovation moving forward faster. And I think your company is a perfect example of how you've been able to integrate modern technologies to keep your platform ever delivering more value to your clients and your customers. So that's great. Let's
Yeah.
talk about tomorrow. What's your
Yep.
vision, Meghann, for the future of RepSpark?
Well, our vision is to be the #1 wholesale as a service platform. So not just servicing order entry and our buyers and our brands, but really the whole entire ecosystem, from pre-book orders all the way to ordering, to fulfilling the order, to adding accounts receivable. So being able to service the accounts receivable, the operations, helping with the omni-channel delivery of products. So really the whole entire ecosystem, where we really can be wholesale as a service, where someone can sign up with RepSpark and they can be trained, they can distribute their product, they can find new buyers, new brands, all of that. I mean, we can start connecting sales reps too. A lot of times brands are looking for new reps in certain territories or verticals. So, and we have all that data and all the information. So putting it together in a really easy to use package to make things faster and smarter for people. I mean, that's our vision, wholesale as a service.
I'll display my ignorance. I've heard a lot of things as a service. I've not heard wholesale as a service.
You heard it first here.
Is that it? Is that your? Okay, so we're gonna.
That is our vision.
All right,
Wholesale as a service. So let's
trademark
work
that,
today. I'm just kidding. We've never really said it publicly, but that's our main vision.
Well, that is. I got a little bit of good. I love asking you entrepreneurs that question towards the end of the interview, because there's always a vision there, and many times I get slight case of goosebumps because it's you're never finished, are you? There's always
You're never finished. Well, and then entrepreneurs, I'm like, and we can get there in a year, and you tell your like, Meghann, I think that's like a 3 to 5 year vision. I'm like, no, we can do it. So yeah, no, it's exciting. It's exciting to have a amazing team all rowing in the right direction and together in it. And super passionate team to make that vision come true.
So you're in many different segments. We've talked a lot about golf and your footprint and presence in golf, but it feels to me that this is somewhat of a fragmented, the sports industry, it's sort of a fragmented space, where a platform like yours that takes the friction out of the transactions and creates, to your phrase, a community, is really needed in this space because of that.
It is. And there's a lot of overlap. I mean, if you think about the apparel brands that, we work really well with brands that want to grow and brands that want to be really operationally focused. And then brands that overlap. So that golf brand probably wants to get into fitness and wellness, resort, action sports, mountains. So we really work with brands that kind of come from a passion of, usually the owner founder of the brands, like they surfed or they golfed or something like that. And they really need to operationalize to make their vision come true. And they overlap. It's the same type of buyer and the same type of brand that we work really, really well with.
Wow, who knew 15 years ago, huh? You said, yeah, see, I'll take a chance at that.
Yeah,
that sounds like a good idea. And here you are. So I really want to thank you for, I know you're super busy, spending a few minutes with me and our guests here on Critical Mass Business Talk Show. Thank you, Meghann.
No, I'm grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank you in the audience. You are a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show. Meghann's show will now join our catalog of over 1,500 episodes. If you happen to be an Orange County entrepreneur or a leader of a nonprofit organization and you would like to share your story with our audience, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Rick, R-I-C, Franzi, F-R-A-N-Z-I. You can also connect through our website, which coincidentally is rickfranzi.com. And Haley or myself will be happy to speak with you about the future opportunity to be on the show. Oh, I didn't ask you, if someone wants to learn more about your firm, Meghann, how do they do that? Shame on me.
So they can find us online. It's repspark.com. And It's RepSpark. We've had many different ways of spelling that. So RepSpark. Or you can find me on LinkedIn, and it's Meghann Butcher. And Megan's horribly spelled too. Meghann. Butcher's like a normal butcher. So yeah, I would love to connect with anyone as well.
I hope people do. I think this is you're providing a fantastic service. So until the next time we all have a chance to be together, I hope all of your business decisions will move your enterprise in a positive direction.